Hey everybody, Gary with Basecamp Trading. Let's take a look at how we were trading the ES in the live trading room this afternoon. You see the ES was really bullish for most of the morning and actually through the whole Asia session and London session. ES made a nice strong move to the upside, and then we consolidated a little bit, triggered this bull flag, and made this final push in the afternoon. And then we left this very bearish shooting star. We left this topping tail right here. The entire body of this bar was all selling. So we had a bearish shooting star right here. And we had an expectation for stocks to actually potentially drop in the afternoon, and we'll go over why in a few minutes. But this shooting star triggered, and then we got a nice strong push to the downside off of that. We had a downside target at the mid. The mid was on our gravity line, was right here at, if I get it to show on here somewhere, it's this right here, 31.90 and a half is the mid, and that was our initial target to the downside. And you can see right there, we came down, tagged the mid. We were also right at the 50 EMA, and we know that price tends to find support and bounce off the 50 EMA and also off the mid. We bounced right off the mid. And this was actually a pretty strong bullish bar back the other way. We left this bottoming tail, and the entire body of this bar was all buying. So this was actually a really strong bullish bar to the upside. But we weren't really looking for prices to go higher. And the reason was looking at the options chain, you can see on the SPX that all the open interest was on the call side, just nothing on the put side at all. And so for the people who are selling these options, the way they make their money is to get as many of these calls that were purchased to expire worthless. Ideally, they want to get as many calls and puts to expire worthless. Well, there just wasn't hardly anything on the put side at all. And at that time, we were way up here on the SPX, and we were looking for it to come down here to this 3200. We figured max pain starts right there, because that would take all these calls, including this 5700 calls, off the table and literally only put a few hundred puts into the money. And so we said from 3200 down is just bonus for the SPX, because you just keep taking 1,000 calls here, 600, 1,200, and you're just not adding any puts, just a few hundred puts down there. So we were thinking 3,200 or lower is where they would try and close this so that they can get as many of these options to expire worthless as they possibly could. And that's exactly what ended up playing out for the afternoon. We put in this really strong bullish bar, formed a reversal doji or a hammer. It never triggered. 5 and the 13 had already crossed to the downside. This bar actually caused the 5 and 13 to cross to the downside. This bar never triggered, and then this next bar was just a really bearish bar. Little tail right there, and then the entire body of this bar was just all selling, and followed by yet another really bearish bar. And we had downside targets. My downside target was actually 31.74. We actually ended up blowing right through that. And then when I was thinking we'll come down here to the 200 EMA, we'll find some support, and we actually blew right through that. Then we did actually pull back and went back above the 200, and then it broke underneath it again and just stayed underneath it, and stocks just tanked into the afternoon. But it all started with a nice 30-minute shooting star. Our trigger was the shooting star, and then we time our entry. Actually timed it off the 2-minute chart. Had a nice little bear flag right here, and that was just in front of that 30-minute shooting star triggering. But as that 30-minute bar was forming, we were saying that we're leaving a topping tail, and the whole body of that bar was selling, and that was looking like a really bearish bar. And our expectation was for prices to go lower anyways. And then that 2-minute bear flag triggered, and we use a 2-minute chart because our risk is much lower. I mean, the entry was 32.19 and our risk is at 32.20 and a half. So we're talking 6 ticks is our risk on this trade. So that is a nice low risk entry with 30-minute confirmation, and we were able to just ride this down. Like I said, we had targets to the downside, and the ES just proceeded to tank right into the end of the day today. And we got, just this is where that pullback was. But again, our expectation was for prices to continue lower, and you can see the ES just tanked right near the close. A little pullback right here at the close, but the ES made a nice strong move to the downside. So good afternoon trading the short side of the ES today.